So, Lisa, it's a pleasure to have this conversation with you sitting in the clump of trees. What do you feel about this environment?
It was very serene, calming, resting in Mother Nature.
Resting in Mother Nature. I know you work a lot on issues of wellness. Now, why do we have to care about wellness? And what does it entail to achieve it, to attain it to certain levels?
It's very important, I think, especially as people who work a lot in terms of activism and also helping communities. We cannot pour from an empty cup. And if you're always giving and giving and giving and going nonstop, you'll eventually crash out and there'll be no one left to carry on the wonderful idea that you had initially. I think we have to care for ourselves as communities and as individuals. Usually when people start to care, they see the effects of not having cared.
Wow.
So it's difficult to convince people before they've burnt out.
That's interesting. Why do people need to be convinced that they need to take a break and look back at their lives and wellness?
I would like to think that a lot of societal conditioning, including capitalism, has taught us that we are not worthy if we're not being productive. But we are human beings, not human doings.
So the system we live in, system of competition, accumulation, power struggles, they don't really, it's not easy to find a balance, in a way that you can say that between the fights, the greed, the struggles, you don't, when you acquire things, for example, wouldn't that make you feel well?
I think there's, an aspect of wellness. If you're well, you are happy.
Okay.
And I personally believe that there's relative happiness and ultimate happiness.
Tell me about that.
So, ultimate happiness is the ultimate fulfillment of having lived a human experience, fulfillment of the soul. I believe we're primarily spiritual beings having a human experience, but people have understood a reversed concept, and they're mostly focused on the immediate relative happiness. If I eat all this, if I get all this money, accumulate all this, but it's a very short and a very small life in the grander scheme of what's going on. So it never leads to ultimate happiness, which is why it's never enough. I get a certain amount of money, I want some more, I want a bigger house, I want a bigger car. If it was truly satisfying, surely we should be satisfied, but we are never satisfied.
That's really interesting because people can never get enough.
Yes.
They're always looking for more. Right. Politicians never really want to leave office. They want to stay forever.
I don't think you could ever get enough power or enough wealth. There's
more influence.
There's genuinely, I believe, an emptiness, but it's tried to be filled in the wrong ways. Yeah.
Okay, so actually, working on an issue on this kind of experience must be very difficult. So, do you find time to take care of yourself in terms of looking at your own wellness, or are you always working to ensure that other people experience that state of being?
I think this year is a year that I have had to learn and acknowledge that I need to pay a bit more attention to my own well-being to be able to consider other people's well-beings. I was actually discussing this with another comrade, another fellow. And he put me on the spot, and then I had to think, yes, this year I really had to get on top of it because, well, for personal reasons, I was having health challenges that slowed me down. And when I slowed down, I realized I couldn't actually be still, which was very ironic for someone who is telling people to be still. So it was a year of learning personally.
So you've learned to be still, occasionally.
Yes.
Not always on the move.
Yes.
Now you are the Omega Resilience Awards, and the core thing is to have a clear understanding of the public crisis, of the capitalist crisis, and also find solutions and pathways to a life that will be much more meaningful and and I believe in your own perspective, you're working for the well-being of communities, or are you working only for the well-being of individuals?
I would say the well-being of communities. The well-being of communities naturally leads to the well-being of individuals. Rarely, I mean, the well-being of individuals does contribute to the community, but it's usually can't disconnect the two. Yeah.
So the individual could not say the community can go to places as far as I'm well myself and have all what I want.
I have a colleague who says that you think that you are well when there's suffering around you is delusion.
It's an illusion. Absolutely. I think this is a state of madness, really.
It is.
So what, in your work, where do you have inspiration? Is it from African philosophy, cultural practices, or do you have to pick only global signals?
I say my roots start at the most basic level. What I can see and touch around me is the ground and the life that sustains us. And I am in Africa, so that is what influences me. And just looking at nature in particular, but also looking at the way our ancestors lived, I just wonder what would have happened to human beings to allow them to go so far away from that and think that that is a healthy way to live. So it's really trying to bring everyone back to how we used to live. Yeah.
Good. Do you now, that's interesting. You're getting me thinking a lot from what you say. What would you say is Africa's, what could be a significant gift from Africa to the world when it comes to well-being?
Gift from Africa to the world when it comes to well-being is being physically present in the body. As much as I said we are spiritual beings, we are, but there's been this demonization by the Western world towards Africans that they're barbarous, they're physical animals, they're not enlightened or civilized. Whereas I think they've actually lost touch with that physical essence of existence. If you're in touch with your physical essence, you don't need someone to tell you you're unwell. You'll know you're unwell. Not only will you know you're unwell, you will know what to do. And you'll be able to catch it before you need some artificial medicines. You will know naturally, this is what's going to help me. This is, but we are in the West, they're very disconnected from that bodily intuition, which is a gift that we have as Africans, I think.
Bodily intuition.
Yes.
Listening to oneself.
Yeah. And oneself is not one's mind.
Where is that? Where is oneself?
You cannot look at it.
It's in the heart.
Yes.
Oh.
If you can even find it, you have to feel it.
You have to feel it.
Yeah.
And you can feel it better in community, I guess.
Yes.
This drives me to think about Ubuntu, the African philosophy that I am because you are.
Yes.
My humanity is connected to yours. Without you, I'm nobody. Do you agree with that philosophy, or does it play any role in either wellness or well-being or both?
I definitely agree with it. It plays a role in both because the key aspect of greed is the delusion that you can make yourself happy while others are suffering, or even by harming others. You can acquire greed in a way that hurts others and you will be fine. And it's not true. When you cause harm to others, you're causing harm to yourself, and others' well-being is intricately linked to yours. And it's all a delusion. It's never yourself. No one succeeds by themselves. Someone is slaving for the person who is enjoying. Someone is preparing the meal that you are eating, whether you think of it or not. Communities have gone through a lot for that food to come to be. Some of them have been robbed. Nothing exists by itself. No one exists by itself. Everyone is a product of their experiences and interactions. So even your uniqueness is defined by other people.
We need more of you in Africa and in the world, because really, when you look at the level of destruction going on in the world, either through warfare, kind of environmental genocide, people are being dehumanized, communities are being overexploited from extractivism, rivers are poisoned, mountains are leveled, all the things that really hold us together are being assaulted by capitalism now. So I'm just wondering, I mean, it's easy to gather a handful of people together for well-being exercises. wellness exercises. I always confused between well-being and wellness. I know there's this level of distinction between the two, but they work together also. So I'm really concerned about communities and nations who are being traumatized, and the entire globe, the world is undergoing some trauma right now, kind of negativity all over the place. Do you think there's hope that will come to a balance where we really care for one another?
I think there's hope. I also think we are connected by some form of collective energies. Yes. So even if in small groups we are practicing wellness and wishing for the wellness of others, just experiencing that energy, well, in practical terms, it will affect others in terms of when they leave, they're going to interact with others in a certain way, which will change the way they interact. But generally, just that, doing that might seem small. But in that moment, you're not only in that room or only that group. You are connected. And we can see that the world is somehow moving in a similar direction. There are some groups rising up. And it's not like they were talking to each other, but they have the same idea. So there must be some shared.
Some groups and people are rising around the world, different parts of the world.
Yeah.
So this gives us hope that we're moving towards a convergence.
Yes.
And then there'll be a change all over the world. Well, let's end it on that happy note, that hopeful note, and let's take care of ourselves and ensure our wellness and that of our communities. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.